Hi, I'm Debra, and I graduated from South Dakota School of Mines. My degree is actually in electrical engineering, but I'm now teaching mathematics there. I did some engineering work for about 13 years after I graduated, and then evolved into teaching mathematics and returned to my alma mater about 5 years ago to get involved in the community and the school itself. For those of you, just a quick background, South Dakota, a lot of people don't know where South Dakota is. But, so we're in Rapid City, far western South Dakota. It's at the foothills of the Black Hills. It's a pretty place. We're most famous for Mount Rushmore and Crazy Horse and some other things that go on in Rapid City. It's beautiful. The weather's really nice most of the time. Somehow I guess we're okay. 45 states, students come to us, 37 different countries. We have roughly 3,000 students. The goal is to be at 3,000 in the next 5 years or so. It's an engineering and science school, strictly. It's not a university per se. We only offer degrees in science, engineering, and pre-health. It's the fastest growing of the areas is the pre-health, where students who are interested in going on to med school, physical therapy, physician's assistants, nurse practitioners. It's a really evolving segment of the campus. It was voted #1 best public university for return on investment in 2015 by the Wall Street Journal. Starting salary is about $63,500. We have 98% placement for our graduates, and it's been best college value for the last 17 years. So we kind of think of it as a diamond in the rough. It's a pretty successful place. I'm predominantly here to talk to you about the outreach programs, but specifically the West River Math Contest. I manage the contest that has been going on now. Somebody had an idea to do this about 68 years ago. This will be the 68th year that we've done this contest. Somebody on the campus initiated it. I participated in it 48 years ago as a student. It's an invitation to all schools west of the Missouri. South Dakota splits itself in half pretty carefully along the Missouri River. So west of the Missouri. We also have students that come to us from eastern Wyoming and northwest Nebraska. 200-mile radius. They get up pretty early in the morning because the contest starts at 9:30. So some of them are up and at it and out of their house by 7 a.m. to get to us. Last year we had 403 attendees, and they were from 25 different schools. Those schools might be middle schools or high schools. The middle school segment is generally just the Algebra 1 segment, and you'll see that here in a second. Here's our testing categories. We have Algebra 1, Geometry, Algebra 2, Advanced Math, and Masters. It's gotten a little more interesting because some of our South Dakota schools have transitioned to Math 1, Math 2, Math 3, Math 4, and so there was a discussion whether we needed to reformat the segments that we test in, and we agreed that no, that would only complicate things even further. So we still do it by subject matter and not this Math 1, Math 2 thing that's going on. The advanced is pretty much a pre-calculus trigonometry type of test or more difficult math problems. And then the master's program is there for those students who have tested in advanced math before and want something more difficult, so they come back for that. We have 2 testing categories, Western South Dakota, well, South Dakota in general doesn't have anything like this population. Rapid City is 70,000 people, and we're the second biggest place in the state. So we have a lot of smaller communities. So we divvy up the contest into a B class and an A class, where B is less than 300 students and A is greater than or equal to that. So our tests are all written by, this is a sample test here, they're all written by the professors on campus. The professors donate their time to do this. So in October, I solicit authors for the tests. Certain professors have certain preferences as to what they would like to be involved with, and generally we have a lot of repeat authors. But in October, I solicit those authors, they sign up. And then in January, when we return to campus after the winter break, we get together again, and they are sent out to all the computer science math department. They review these tests. They check them for grammar, spelling, wording, content, appropriateness, all kinds of things. Everybody works all of them. We have an answer key that goes with it, so everybody works them and checks it off the answer key. And then we have a pizza party in late January where we all agree on what we want to have in there and what's going to be on it. And then those are rewritten or corrected and sent to me, and they're ready for publication at that point. The primary test, we have 2 tests. The primary test is 10 questions long, 10 to 12. Sometimes you'll see 12 questions. And they will, everybody takes that. If need be, we have a tie-break test that everybody takes as well, but not everybody is graded with that. Only if they are in contention for an award do we use the tie-break if necessary. All of the questions are open-ended. We have no multiple choice, and we have no automatic graded tests. These are all done by hand, written by the professors, graded by the professors, and that's what seems to be most attractive, is that the professors do have the ability to look at the answer sheets and include that in their assessment if they want to. I assembled them all in the book. This is a picture of last year's book. All of the teachers get a copy of this, and they take it back to their schools. They use it in their classrooms to facilitate further instruction, to get ready for next year, to do other interesting things with if they want to. The answer sheets are in there as well, full solutions, not just answers, but everything is worked out for them. So they have a copy of the test, they have all the solutions, and they can take those back with them. Registration takes place by mail, email, or online. Last year was our first time online. It's an old program, so you know old things are sometimes hard to evolve into new things. So snail mail is still going out. I don't know if I'm going to continue to do that. We used to send the results by snail mail, and I knocked that off last year. I said, we're not doing that anymore. We're going to do email. And then online registration worked really well. We're hoping that that expands and more teachers participate with that online registration. You can access the online registration through our academics, through our website, academics and outreach programs, and then there's a special category for the West River Math Contest. It's WRMC is the abbreviation that we use. Our database is kept in Microsoft Access. This needs some updating. I took the program over 2 years ago, so one thing at a time, but this does need some attention. We keep track of all the teacher emails and the teachers. That's the most time-intensive thing because teachers come and go. And it's really hard to keep that up to date, but we make a point of tracking who's participating and who's at the different schools. The contestants are all in there as well as their scores. Okay, here's the schedule. Let's take it one step at a time. This is Dr. Heather Wilson. She's the president of the college, and she deems this to be a pretty important event for her. So here you see her greeting them last year for the event. And she talks to them about being involved in STEM, about being involved in science, engineering, making this part of their life, part of their career, that the world, the community at large needs more problem solvers. So she's very active in that. Then the testing takes place. We have student proctors on campus who donate their time. They take these students from the gymnasium that you saw there and to the classrooms, the lecture halls where these testing takes place. It gives them an opportunity to talk to these kids on their way over and get them excited about being on the campus and what it's like to be a student there. So that takes about 45 minutes to do the first test. Then they take a break. But while they're testing, we have a teacher reception that's in our Sports Hall of Fame building. So it's kind of a nice place, and they have a continental breakfast. They make registration corrections there so that we know who's really at the contest and who didn't make it, and any substitutions they made at the last minute. They get their test book there, and then they network with other teachers, which is a great opportunity for them. And then the professors are also there. The professors are on campus anyway. We haven't left yet for the summer, and so they're there to grade the tests as well. They aren't finished with their finals, and it's a great opportunity for both the professors and area teachers to get together and develop some relationships. Here's our professors doing the grading. It's all done by the professors. There's no multiple choice again. And here's a group of them that are working on that grading process there. It's not as bad as it looks. There are a lot of tests. There are a lot of tests, but they have a method. They get through them very fluidly. And again, the tie-break test is only required to be graded if the students are tied for a position that would get them an award. So the primary tests are finished, and the students take a 10 to 15 minute break. Those tests are all collected and brought back to the math building during that break time, and the professors can start on the primary tests and get them grading, while the students then take the tie-break test, which is subsequent to that. And then all of our student proctors bring those tie-break tests back to the math building, and generally speaking, we're pretty well done with the primary tests at that point, so they can start on the tie-break tests. While we're grading and finishing grading and the students are done testing, we have some other things on campus that they can do. Because the the proctors that took them to their classroom are actual students, they're welcome to talk to those people, and those proctors are encouraged to talk to them. They have access to other buildings on the campus if they wish. The student proctors can take them to other places. We have a museum of prehistoric bones and whatever at the campus, so they can go tour that. Other activities sometimes present themselves. The Astronomical Society will have things set up. The chemistry department may be doing something, and so the students can participate there. They have lunch in our cafeteria, which gives them a chance to see what that's like. Not as good as mom's home cooking, but they get an opportunity to kind of feel the campus while they're there. Then we have the award ceremony, and the professors who wrote the tests will give the awards along with President Wilson. She often comes back for that portion of the presentation and takes part in that as well. Our awards include top 5 finishers. So we have medals for the top 5, both in Class A and Class B. With the exception of the master's program, we only have one category there. We don't divvy that into Class A and Class B. And students, it's kind of an expensive part of the event actually to buy all these trophies and these medals, but the students really eat that up. They really appreciate being rewarded for those things. They don't have to finish first. They can still be acknowledged, and so we do that. We also take an opportunity to award an overall trophy between Class A, Class B for each category. So for instance, in algebra, between the top finisher in A and B, who was the overall best scorer? And most people think that would be Class A, but not necessarily. We see a pretty even split between Class A and Class B. Some of those younger schools do very well. We also have a school trophy that they can take back and put in their trophy case at the school. Whoever records the most top 10 finishers will get a class in both Class A and Class B. It's a tough day. Some of them have been up for about since 7 a.m. and yeah, it's getting pretty, by the time they get home it's 5, but it's a good day and they seem to really enjoy it. The funding is done from the South Dakota School Mines, and then we also have some other private sources that we reach out to because we don't have all of the funds necessary to take care of it. We do have other outreach that we do. We have the Upper Plains Science Fair. We host that on our campus. That includes North Dakota, eastern Montana, eastern Wyoming, northwest Nebraska and South Dakota. They come here for the science fair. The judges at the science fair are community members and or campus members. You volunteer. Every year it's about a 50-50 split between new people involved and older previous judges. It's PhDs, masters, bachelors, engineering firms, business people. They all come and appreciate what's going on there and participate in the judging. We have Engineering and Science Day, which is part of Engineers Week. And Engineering and Science Day, we bring the middle school kids in, and they are welcome to take part in one of many demonstrations that's going on the campus. They register for certain segments of that depending upon what's going on, and they participate actively in that. We usually have some pretty fun demonstrations. Chemistry always outdoes math, but we're working on it. We're trying to be more engaged in it, and that's part of my attendance here is how do we get more fun, active things for them to do. We have summer camps. They come for a week at a time during the day. Some of them actually stay on campus, but it's another great opportunity for them to engage in that community of that engineering science facility that we have there, and generally speaking they have a pretty good time. And we also have Women in Science when they come and spend a day or a couple of days, and here you can see them using plastic ties to build and suspend a bottle of water using plastic cups and plastic ties. So they're given a project that requires them to do some thought and some collaboration between themselves. And we also have a really unique opportunity in that we have the Sanford Lab, which is in the Homestake Gold Mine, which is in Leeds, South Dakota. The Homestake Gold Mine was closed in 2002. It was the largest gold mine in North America for many, many years. It's 8,000 feet deep. The Sanford Lab studies neutrinos and dark matter. And the students are allowed down to the 4280 foot level. Our physics department is very actively involved in that, and it's a pretty cool place actually if you ever get a chance to get in there. So they are welcomed into that environment. There's also a brand new visitor center there, and it's shown there on the right. They're still developing the videos for it and some of the other things. On the left there you see them with robotics, and they're working in there. And obviously there's a lot of engineering science things here, but the basis for all engineering and science is mathematics. So it's a great facility to have right up the road from us. That's what I have for you with regard to what we do. But again, I welcome your questions, but I am here to try and expand what we do in our communities with respect to our high schools and our middle schools. And our president is very actively involved in garnering funds for the middle school particularly. So this seemed like a great opportunity.
You said that there's students at your school from all over the country, but one positive outcome of outreach like this would be to recruit local students, or students from the region.
We do. We have 50% of our students are from South Dakota.
And do most of them typically participate in these programs as students before they become college students?
Often, not always, but often. Some of them, resources are not as plentiful, I guess I would say, out there in terms of what some of these students and the school systems have the ability. We have a very high Native American population in western South Dakota. We have several reservations there, and so I think we need to do more of going out as opposed to having them all come in, because it's difficult for them to acquire the funding to come in all the time. So the outreach really means us getting out more, is how I think how we see this.
And just more generally, what are your goals for this as an outreach program?
Well, some of our students, you know how this is when you're growing up and you don't want to go to the local college, right? Because it's more fun to go somewhere else. And I have to say the same thing happened to me. I went to the school mines as a freshman with every intention of transferring somewhere else. But no, I found my home when I went there, and there was no need to do that. So I think our goal is to get these kids to think of us as a real option for them to be, to get involved in science and engineering. I think so many of them have some skills, but they've never been encouraged or thought about that as an avenue of a career and as a possible way to go. And so we do have math education and that type of thing there, but we're looking to get them engaged. If they're good at this stuff and they're having interest in it, let's do it.
So I hear two different things that you're saying. And I'm asking selfishly, because I'd like to work with more schools doing this. Suppose a kid gets interested in science and math, but does not register in your school.
That's okay.
Okay, so the goal is.
The goal is to get them interested. They don't have to be at our school, absolutely not. No. That's a selfish approach to that topic. But that is not the goal at all. It's like the president reinforces that all the time, is that yes, we would love to have them here, but more importantly, they need to be part of this problem-solving community to help the community at large, and that's exactly what we need.
Just a comment right now. Kudos to your president, because that's the first time I hear something like that. It's always recruitment. And if your president saying those words, just say that the medical community at large impressed and in complete approval.
You know, she does some unique things. She and the provost hand deliver our scholarships to the communities within the region. They do that. They go out and deliver the scholarship to the students. We have some very underserved students in our region, and they're at risk because they are so vulnerable, because their background has been so underachieved or underused. And so she actually, with the provost, hand delivered, I think, 20 scholarships last year to the people in the community. So
can I go to your school?
It's a warm place. It is. It's a diamond in the rough in the respects that it gives a really good education to it, but there's a real community involved in that. To get these professors to donate this kind of time, I'm just going to say that that's kind of unusual. And for them to donate that time and to grade all of that, to write those, to be involved in all of that willingly, and then to go meet these teachers and interact with them, and that's a tough thing to get some regions to do. So I really appreciate that, and there was no way this contest wasn't going to keep going. The director of it is retiring soon, and she was looking to offload it, and yeah, I said, well, okay, we can't let this go.
There's another thin thread through your talk that I don't know if maybe even you noticed, but there's a way that your school seems to leverage its locality, right? Because you said that there's this lab in a mine, which is not your school's, I understand, but they have access to it. And then the Museum of Fossils and whatnot, because it's in South Dakota.
Right.
So like, leveraging your location is something we should all think about. Like what makes where we are unique, you know? And
Exactly.
it seems like you guys
And the
very
geology piece,
fundamentally,
yeah, the Black Hills has got some nice, interesting geology. So geology is a degree that we offer along with geological engineering, and so, yeah, South Dakota School of Mines and Technology was developed because of the mine back in 1885. So it's been there a very long time. And I'd like to note that the first 3 graduates, 2 were women. The ratio was the other way, yep.
So do you have any measures of how successful it is, the program?
The contest?
Yeah.
In terms of, we have some teachers who have been in the schools, and when you go out to the schools, this is the thing, we're trying to get the South Dakota School Mines to be not such in terms of South Dakota or Rapid City, I think people see it as the college of nerds, and we sit on the other end of town, and you see university cities, and this community embraces them. I think the community is afraid of this school. I think there's there's a difference there in terms of how do we embrace this school down there, because these people are, but we're just regular people, and so we're trying to break through that barrier of you can't access it, that we're just regular people, and we're willing to talk to you and help you. And so we find that that's our biggest challenge right now, is to try to, and the president's, that's why she's delivering scholarships, that's why she's got banners up on the light poles downtown now. She's gotten the city to go along with that. And I don't know, we're integrating more, because there needs to be this people feeling good about math and science.
What about like what Japeth does, which is goes to local libraries? Because if you really have this town and gown problem with Rapid City in particular, it seems like the city libraries or city community centers are the real town areas, you know?
Libraries are a great partner.
Yeah, and we have a library in town that, but I don't know that there's a lot going on there in terms of in that interaction, so something to investigate. But the museum is a great place too, and the Badlands are there, and we have, that's where they find all these fossils, are in the Badlands for the most part, and it's good. Anyway, thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.